It's time to get it.
Actually, now we're going to show you how to catch the jab. Actually, in boxing, it's called parrying.
Peace, peace, peace. Welcome to another episode of the Parry, where we don't pull or duck no punches. I am your host, Bomani UFG.
And I am the pragmatic Shay Black.
And want to welcome everybody back to another episode, our first episode of This Week in Boxing. Well, we're going to be just running down what happened during the week, highlighting good fights, knockouts, things of that nature, what's going on in the boxing news, in the boxing stratosphere, the Twitterverse, and all of that. You know what I mean? But yo, first of all, that intro music, man. Shout out to my man, Mr. Mind State, for blessing us with the hard beat, man.
Absolutely.
For the intro, man. But yo, Che Black, how you doing, brother?
You already know, man. Same fights, a different round. We back at it. It's the Parry. We don't duck, pull no punches. So, I'm ready to get into this. It was really a last 2 weeks, because we've been missing for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
But the last 2 weeks in boxing has been a lot going on in boxing, and a lot going on as far as the drama of the theater, as Lawrence Fishburne put it.
The theater.
The theater. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of drama building, a lot of storylines, being written, so to speak. I see some rivalries shaping out right now. There's a lot going on in boxing.
Definitely a lot going on in boxing this week. Well, there's been some good fights. You had Richardson Hitchins, my man Africa, man, representing Brooklyn. Shout out to Brooklyn, defending his IBF title. And he fought George Kambosos Jr., ferocious Kambosos. And, going into that fight, I figured, Richardson Hitchins would win, but I did think that Kambosos was he was a live dog in the fight. Now I get it. He never really impressed me on a level where I thought he was as skillful as any of the top guys in and around the division. But, he did kind of shock the world. He's still living off the win over Teofimo Lopez. And I did feel like, in this was another time for him he was also undefeated at Madison Square Garden, by the way, going into the fight. And I thought that, he had the ability. I thought he had the ability to kind of step up at times when his back was against the wall. I thought the Teofimo Lopez fight showed that, that he was a live dog. He just wasn't going to, lay down and let you do what you wanted to him, man. But Richardson Hitchins did everything he wanted to do to that man in the ring that night, man. What you thought of that fight?
I thought Richardson Hitchins fought a virtuoso performance. That was a clinic in boxer puncher brutality. It was definitely he definitely put the entire super lightweight division on notice with that fight right there. It wasn't the fact that he was able to defeat Kambosos. I ain't gonna say he was able to defeat him easy. It's not just that, but it was the the picturesque, the performance, the way he did it was just so brutal and so perfect at the same time. With that said, he showed his arsenal. He showed his diversity. He showed if you get in the ring with him, you better do them. You better do some pull-ups. You better do some push-ups. You better definitely don't forget them sit-ups. You seen that vicious, brutal. Made that boy then come out as breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the next 2 weeks.
Yo, that body shot, he stopped him, I believe it was the 8th round. And, he already hit him and hurt him to the body earlier in the fight. But is it me or that, because that body shot was kind of reminiscent of the Bernard Hopkins, De La Hoya stoppage? Not from I thought, but B-Hop is a legend, all-time great. And De La Hoya is miles above, the level of a George Kambosos, even at his best. But the way he keeled over in pain, like somebody just disemboweled him, man. He got hit with that shot and he folded like origami, man.
Remind me of Virgil. It remind me of Virgil Hill.
Oh yeah.
Remind me of Roy Jones, Virgil Hill. Not so much De La Hoya. De La Hoya, I don't know what that bullshit was to this day. I'm not gonna into that. I don't want to get into that. I don't want to make that about this, but we'll probably have to discuss that fight on another date, just because of that. But definitely, and the liver shot is definitely paralyzing. We seen it happen with Tank when he just fought, or a couple years ago when he fought the kid that nobody likes, Garcia,
Ryan Garcia.
Right. So we seen that. We know that liver shot is debilitating. It is paralyzing. When Hugo Pineda, Trinidad knocked out Hugo Pineda with a very similar body shot like that in the Garden as well. It wasn't in the theater though. It was in the actual Garden. But no disrespect to Hitchins or the fact that they didn't fight in the Garden. It is a difference though. It's a premier, different ring, different atmosphere. Nonetheless, it was New York City.
In the building. Shout out to New York.
KAMBOSOS coming to New York, fighting Hitchinson, who's out of Brooklyn. Hitchins, the hometown fair. We're in his hometown. So regardless of KAMBOSOS being undefeated, KAMBOSOS, let's be honest, KAMBOSOS is a C+ fighter. Like, if we're giving out rankings, grades, tiers in boxing, he's a C+ fighter who was able to garner a victory over possibly a B+ fighter, which is his claim.
Whoa. Richardson B. Okay, I think that's fair. Richardson B+, but improving. Yeah, I'm with it. B+. Got you. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, so we're looking at, I think the bottom line is this. The performance that Richardson, man got 2 last names.
It could have been Hitchison Richards. Or...
Yeah.
Shout out to Richardson Hitchens, my man, African, man. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to that's some African shit too, to be honest with you. But shout out, that's African. That's a lot of them do that. But shout out to Richardson Hitchens. He put the division on notice. If you're in the welterweight division, if you're in the junior welterweight division, or even if you're in the junior or the super welterweight, junior middleweight division, if you're in any of them divisions, you should be on notice right now, because the type of performance that he gave is the type of performance that you give when you're a special fighter. These are the type of performance that special fighters give until they get the fight that they say supposed to have to prove their greatness. We always talk about the eye test here. He's been past the eye test as far as I'm concerned. And for the last couple of years, my man out of Philly, what's the brother out of Philly?
Boots.
Boots. So my man out of Philly, Boots, has been the upcoming and the sleeper around there. He's been the guy that everyone's looking at, to be the next after Crawford or even the dethroned Crawford. He was the one that we was whispering about in the boxing community for the last couple of years. But I've always Hitchins is the sleeper. He's the wild card.
Wow. 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 So you high on Richardson Hitchins like that. Okay. Well,
I think that he has a lot of potential. He has to prove it in the ring. It hasn't been proven yet, but yes.
I think we're coming into an era of boxing where, particularly 135 pound, 140, 147, even 154, where there are tons of young talent that all like a lot of them look like they can be the next superstars of the sport. Like you said, the Richardson Hitchins, even somebody that's kind of green as a professional, but with an extensive amateur background like Andy Cruz. You got the Xander Zayas's of the world. Of course, then you still got some of the old new guard, if that makes sense, and the Devin Haneys and these guys. Of course, Tank is like seems to be approaching the end of his career because he wants to retire soon, as what he was talking about before. But a lot of these guys, you can't forget the Teofimo Lopez's, and it's a lot of great crop of young fighters that's coming up that's looking like they can take over the sport and be the next pound for pound king. Even somebody like Brian Norman Jr., who we're going to discuss in a little bit. These guys looking like they all need to start because they're in and around the same division weight classes, and we're going to start seeing a lot of these classic matchups like we used to see back in the day, in the 90s, late 80s, the 90s, where we were seeing like all of these guys had to fight. A lot of these guys are going to have to start fighting each other. And when I compare Richardson Hitchins, now I think I've always been impressed by his skill set. Good jab, he knows how to box, good footwork. But I don't know where he ranks amongst the other talented, especially people like, you got Keyshawn who's moving up to 140 now. So, we're about to see exactly where Richardson Hitchins is going to fall in the rankings amongst the young crop of fighters in and around his weight division. After the fight, I thought it was interesting. I thought, him and Teofimo looked like they was on a collision course at 140. Teofimo was turning down fights. Apparently, he turned down the fight with Devin Haney. I thought that was a perfect setup for, okay, I'm not gonna fight Devin. I'm gonna fight Richardson Hitchins for my belts, his belt. We can unify. But he calls out Devin Haney
right away. Obviously he got other plans, so I don't know what's next. But I'm looking here at the camera. Devin Haney, fuck you, nigga. Let's fight. Devin Haney next. Fuck Devin Haney and Bill Haney. Pussies. New York, stand up, baby. We here, baby.
Like Devin Haney seems to be, looking like food to a lot of these guys. Everybody's calling them out. So Richardson Hitchins versus Devin Haney will be is interesting for a couple reasons. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Again, these guys are going to start. They're approaching points in their careers where they're going to have to start fighting each other for supremacy.
It looks like the 70s. It looks like the 90s in that welterweight, that welter-skelter division. There's always been war. It's always been that. To me, it's always been, even though the middleweights used to get that acknowledgement, the welterweights always to me seem to be the where you see the real most talented boxing taking place, in that division and around that division. Not just in it all the way up to middleweight, of course, but you know, from Sugar Ray Leonard to Sugar Ray Robinson, you know, Felix Trinidad, De La Hoya, Pernell Whitaker, you know, all was in that. Mayweather, Pacquiao, all been in that welter skelter division. And as we're about to see another, you know, a whole, it's like it's actually just getting flipped because we know we just coming right off of, you know, with Spence, and we had Garcia, and I'm talking about Danny Garcia, and we had Thurman. You know, it was a lot of talent just around that. Porter, then you had Crawford coming up into the division. So just in that whole area, there's a lot of talent, and we seeing it. It's like a rollover. It's still rolling. It actually didn't even take a break because now we're getting into the next phase of the talent pool that's out there. That was the young lions that was waiting in the wings. You know, we'll probably see some of the best, you know, round robin, you know, since the 90s. Since we had Corte, De La Hoya, you know, De La Hoya, Trinidad Whitaker, like just the round robin that was taking place, Lopez, Corte, you know, just a lot of fights that was taking place during that time. Right. A lot of round robin fights.
Right. Yeah, and that's ultimately what I was saying is like we're approaching a era where we're going to start seeing these fights because these fighters are going to have to fight each other. Because if your goal is to become pound for pound, I want to be recognized as an all-time great. There's enough talent in and around these divisions where these fights, one, they make sense. It seems like a lot of these fighters, some of these guys seem like they don't want to fight each other, but there's enough of these guys that are willing to fight each other. I don't think Keyshawn Davis is ducking any smoke. I don't think Richardson Hitchens is ducking any smoke. I think he'll fight any and everybody in and around that division. Devin Haney already proved that he ain't ducking no smoke from nobody. You know, it seems like Teofimo likes to, you know, call people out and then jump back. And this, you know, he's looking for fights that don't even make sense for him, like fighting Boots Ennis. That fight don't make sense for him or for Boots. Somebody who's looking to be undisputed at 147, but he decided to move up. And he's looking for a fight with Virgil Ortiz, which is something that's supposed to have happened at 147.
Why you don't think a fight with Boots and Teofimo would make sense to you?
I don't think it makes sense for Boots to fight a Teofimo who's going to have to move up to 147 to fight him. And I will say the name cachet. I mean, it makes sense. Is it a money-making fight? Absolutely. But Boots, I think Boots already made it clear as what his objective was, which was to be undisputed at 147. Mm-hmm. Teofimo doesn't have any titles at 147, and actually a better fight, a fight that I think makes more sense, and a fight that I'll be more excited to watch is for Boots to move up to 154 to fight Virgil Ortiz, because Virgil Ortiz and Boots should have had fought at 147. A fight with Teofimo Lopez does what? He's moving up. If he loses, it's like, okay, you moved up, you fought the bigger guy, and you lost. Like it doesn't do anything for either one of their careers. Now, I will say if Teofimo was to move up and beat Boots, that's a hell of an accomplishment. But why would you risk that if you Boots, or even, you know, take? I want to say risk. I mean, Teofimo definitely a skilled fighter who is probably capable of beating him. I wouldn't know unless the fight happens, but I feel like Virgil Ortiz makes more sense, even at 154. That's a better fight. That's a better fight for both of them guys. Teofimo is really the only one who would benefit from that matchup if he was to actually move up and win. It doesn't do anything.
He absolutely would be the only one to move up. And I mean, ultimately, I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't think that is the best fight for Boots. But I think it might be an easy paycheck for him, though. I think that they could muster up a nice, you know, and this is the fight business. And thinking of the fight business, if I'm Boots, I'm thinking about that. I'm like, you know what? If I go out there and really look good doing it, if I could go out there and really look good dusting this kid off, and you know that'll add to my marketability for the next fight. I, on top of the fact that I'm the unified IBF WBA super welterweight title holder, so I'm coming in with two belts already. Yeah, if I was him, I would do it. You know, every step to make yourself a household name. I know that they're chasing titles and we're in the 4-belt era, and they're chasing that mythical undisputed unified that undisputed title. But to be 100% honest, you know, these fighters, in my opinion, are making these titles. You know, these fighters are making these titles. That these fighters become bigger than these, because we already know who the champs are. Like, we know who the champs are. Right. So I would go after chasing greatness by just getting the biggest fights you can get, and you know, making yourself a household name the best way you can. And I don't know, Virgil Hill is the way to do it over fighting the
Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz.
Pardon me. We talked about Virgil Hill earlier. Virgil Ortiz. Pardon me, Virgil Ortiz. Pardon me, Virgil Ortiz. But I just don't think that a fight. I do think that that's a fight that needs to happen. Him and Virgil Ortiz. I think that's a fight that absolutely needs to happen. I just think that for Boots, business wise, why not take this fight? Why not? You know what I mean? And then silence the people who said, "Oh, you just beat up on this guy because he stepped up." Okay, yeah, I did, and I fattened my pocket doing it. But okay.
I mean, I get it, man. As far as a payday and a paycheck, it makes sense. You know what I mean? It makes sense. But again, for me, when Boots, even before Boots won a title at 147, we was looking for Boots to. People were saying Boots Crawford should happen, right? Boots Virgil Ortiz.
Well, that's always going to happen, though. It was, and that was early. That was premature, but and it was for, you know, how devastating and nice and dangerous this guy looked. But go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, but Boots Ennis is 147 pounder, and Teofimo, you still got unfinished work to do in and around your division. Boots is not somebody we was demanding for you to fight. Like, fight Devin Haney, fight Richardson Hitchins, fight Shakur Stevenson, like fight Ryan Garcia, fight these guys that's in and around your class. And when I say class, I mean like the people that when you was making your name was coming up making their names as well. So I want to see you fight Devin Haney. I'm not itching to see you fight Boots. Boots got other fish to fry. So rather than be calling out Boots or even Terrence Crawford for that matter, you should be in there fighting Devin Haney. The check is there for you, right? The check is there and available for you. And I think that's another name you get to scratch off the list that people compare you to in and around. Yeah, that's in your era, right? You're a former unified lightweight champion. He's a former undisputed lightweight champion. Y'all both in and around the same division. Devin wants to fight. You say you want to fight, but then you don't want to fight because you'd rather fight Boots. Like, is this dude is out here playing games. You got unfinished business with other fighters before you go fight to somebody at the level of Boots Ennis. And now Teofimo may have a bigger name than Boots for sure. It's a good paycheck, a great payday, I'm pretty sure, for both fighters. But I don't think Teofimo has earned that fight yet, because you haven't beat the guys who's calling you out in and around your division that you should have fought years ago.
Okay, but when we start to go there with it, because you're not wrong, technically, you're technically right. But if we go there with it, you know how many fighters are fighting fighters who earn that shot. You know, when you take it's like when you take an easy fight, you're not fighting someone who quote unquote earned that fight. So I agree in that aspect, but to say that he didn't earn it, I mean, it's more of a does he deserve it than did he earn it? That's how I look at it. Does he deserve it? He's deserving of that fight only because of his contributions to boxing and his name. That's it. Not because he beat the fighters that he needed to
I see what you're saying.
He didn't actually earn it, but yeah,
he didn't earn it though. But I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? But if he doesn't get it, it's not a travesty.
I get you. I can agree with that. But that's neither here nor there, though. Let's get back to the Richardson Hitchens calling out Devin
Well,
Haney, though.
exactly, because you mentioned Haney, and yes, but yes.
I just felt like I thought that Teofimo turning down the Devin Haney fight was for him to go and unify and fight Richardson Hitchens. He got in the ring. I'm thinking, okay, it's about to go down. And it went completely in a different direction I didn't expect. Now, I know there's a beef between the Haneys and Hitchison, especially between Bill and Richardson. Hitchison was having a back and forth at the press conferences and even after the fight. And he straight up called Devin Haney the B word, man. A word that's fighting words. You know what I mean? Something that if another grown man called you, it's like, take 10 paces and draw type. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That matchup is interesting. I'm gonna get your opinion on that matchup, but I feel I don't know. I think they should fight, but I don't know if I want to see that fight. I'm being honest. I like that fight.
A fan of each fighter, and I would take you to be more of a Haney fan than Hitchinson.
Oh, for sure. I like both guys, but for sure, I'm more of a Devin Haney fan. I'm not gonna, admittedly, yes, more of a Devin Haney fan, for sure.
Now, my take on the fight. Before I even give you my take, let's look at the fashion that he actually called out Devin Haney after the fight. That I think right there needs to be noted. It was not just him calling out Devin Haney, but it was the fashion of how he called him out. Matter of fact, we're gonna have to run that. We're gonna have to run that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm looking here at the camera. Devin Haney, fuck you, nigga. Let's fight. Devin Haney next. Fuck Devin Haney and Bill Haney. Pussies.
We've seen this in boxing. However, I'm not gonna lie. When you see it from Brooklyn, you know what I'm saying? When Brooklyn gets in the ring and starts talking like that, it that has a different type of vibration. It reverberates a little bit different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely not gonna lie about that. And yeah, it's a fight that now I want to see. I want to see this fight. I actually want to see this fight. And I don't want to see it probably for the reasons why, or I probably want to see it maybe for the reasons you don't. I don't know.
Nah,
see, I don't know how you think the fight will play out, but I'm gonna be 100 with you. I see from what I've seen and from what I like, Haney will probably run and lose a whack-ass 12-round decision. And if he decides to stand on his and throw it down, he may be out of there within 5.
Oh, man. Woo! All right. Here's the reason why I don't know if I want to see this fight. I don't think I want to see this fight. I'm a huge fan of both fighters. I think this fight should happen. It's not that I feel like the fight shouldn't happen. Like I said, these guys are on a collision course with one another to where they're going to have to start fighting each other. The reason why I'm not sure if I want to see this fight is because I feel like it may become too much of a chess match, right? It may become too much of a chess match to where they're both in there not engaging and making and creating an exciting fight. It'd be a boxing match.
Your man's doing that. That would be your man's making it that chess
Richardson
match.
Hitchens is the same type of fighter, very cerebral. He's a cerebral guy.
No, he's not same type of fighter. He's very technical. He's very cerebral, but he is not. He is not the. All right. If you're going off of what we seen post Ryan Garcia, that's one thing. But if you're taking Devin Haney and you're judging him post Ryan Garcia, I don't think you're giving yourself a righteous judgment call at all. Because what I seen after that fight, I seen a different fighter. And I understand fighting. And I understand that's a different fighter. He's not a fighter that was actually destroyed physically. When Fernando Vargas fought Trinidad, when he came back in the next fight and got dropped, I can't remember who my man was, but dropped him in the second round. He won that fight. But Trinidad was destroyed Vargas. He was ruined after that fight.
Yeah.
I don't know if Haney is necessarily ruined physically, but mentally, it's over for him. His heart, his stomach, it's not there. It's almost like he threw his punches and thought about how to defend as he's throwing his punch. I seen it. I'm not, and this is not me knocking him. I understand. I see this is it. But so from what I seen, this is why I'm giving my prediction. Now we're going before that fight because Hitchins, pardon me, that Hitchins, it sounds like it's supposed to be Hitchinson. Richard Hitchinson. It's Richardson Hitchins. But anyway, Hitchins.
Yeah.
Very technical, very clean, defensive minded. Very, however, and not a seek and destroy, so to speak, but he creates the openings. He's not going to go in there and just look to avoid and keep avoiding. Whereas the Devin Haney I seen the last fight was avoiding to avoid to avoid.
I think that they both have similar styles. They've both been criticized for a lot of the same reasons about their fights. Which is again why I feel like I don't think I want to see this fight at this point. Is it a fight that should have happened? Possibly. I mean, yes, excuse me. Is it a big fight? I think so. They probably have to fight at a catch weight. I don't think 140. I don't think Devin's want to come back down to 140. Richardson Hitchins may move up to 147. But more than likely that fight's gonna have to happen at a catch weight like he did with Jose Ramirez. Maybe like a 140, maybe like a 144 or something.
I think my brother Bomani is capping right now. I think the UFC is capping a little bit about you. Now, why wouldn't you want to see, if these are two cerebral fighters, why wouldn't you want to see them in a fight that could be a straight masterpiece, artwork? Like we're not casuals. We understand what's going on. You didn't look at Mayweather and say he's running. You looked at Mayweather and said he's putting on a clinic.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, and then in 9 out of 10, it wasn't an exciting clinic. Not that none of them were, but 9 out of 10, it wasn't going to be exciting.
All right, let me ask you a question though, because people, Floyd, we act like Floyd wasn't the one to stand in the pocket with you. He'll still make you miss standing right there in front of you and counter. Like he was a great counter puncher. Like we know how great Floyd is. I'm not even getting to that. But here's my question, and I'm not comparing Hitchins and Haney to these guys in regards to just skill level or anything like that. I'm thinking, just follow me. Just think style wise, right?
Okay.
Or should I say matchup wise? Haney, Richards. You got me doing what I'm about to call him. Richardson Hitchins. Yeah. Think about that matchup and think about a matchup. Let's just say if Floyd and Sweet Pea was the fight, it'll be a chess match. It will be a great, like you got two highly technical fighters, probably two of the greatest defensive fighters of all time. Right? Do you think that fight would have
Floyd and
been?
Whitaker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If Floyd and Sweet Pea was the fight, we would have two great defensive-minded fighters who will probably be in there not hitting each other. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying that Hitchison, was it Hitchison? See, you messing me up now. I knew the dude's name. You messing me up. Richardson Hitchins. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
And Haney is not that they're even the same kind of fighters as these guys. I'm talking about two fighters that got similar styles in the ring that may not, and I'm saying may, I don't know, may not add up to a much of an exciting fight. When you got two fighters that are too similar. And I think Floyd and Sweet Pea, they had different styles in regards to their offensive approach. But you talking about two defensive fighters, two of the greatest defensive fighters of all
Well, the
time.
misconception is that there's a lot of posturing and posing that would take place, and we wouldn't actually see punches being thrown. But if you look at both fighters, and I would say especially even Pernell Whitaker, he was great at creating openings by either. And actually, no, I take that back. Both of them were masters at this in their own right. They both had different ways of doing it, though. But both of them were great at either throwing some type of offense that was never designed to actually hit you, but was designed to get you to engage back, so that they can then counter what you're gonna do by figuring you out off of your movements, or they were able to entice you to come to them by showing you something that wasn't really there. Both of them had the ability to give you that. Before they give you the puzzle, they give you the mirage first. You know what I'm saying? And you go after the mirage, and oh shit, you know what I mean? Next thing you know, you like, damn, I thought he was right there. So
Right.
I don't, and the thing would be, it would be the smarter fighter in a fight like that. So now we taking a fighter like Pernell, and we're taking a fighter like Mayweather. We would be looking at literally the smarter fighter is going to win that fight. The fighter who is able to get the other one to fight to his pace, or to make the mistake that the other fighter wants to make, is going to be the fighter to win the fight like that. And to say that it wouldn't be exciting is to, like I said, to go back to thinking that all you're going to see is the posturing and posing, and not see the setups, the traps, and the puzzles.
Well, here's my question though. Now, because you're right, maybe it's a misconception, but I don't think it's far fetched. Because here's the thing: you're going to get one or the other. Is it safe to say that in the Mayweather Pernell Whitaker matchup, or even in the Devin Haney Richardson Hitchins matchup, that you're going to get a lot of posturing?
I think you're going to get a fight with not a lot of clinching. That's what I think, and I'm cool with that.
You know what? I can agree with that. I can agree with that. It probably won't be much clinching in either one of those fights. But back to the Richardson Hitchins Haney fight. Again, I felt like their styles are very similar when they're both on their A game, and I'm talking about offensively, stepping on the gas, using all of their tools. They're still very similar. I think Haney has more experience. He might be, I want to say he's more skilled, but he got a really good jab. They both got really good jabs. They both counter very well, and they both know how to walk you down in the sense of where they're the aggressor in the fight. They both know how to do that, but they also both know how to not be that person either, right? Again, it could be too much of a chess match where it's going to be like, but it could be what you said though. It could. I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong. I just don't know. I just don't know. I think a Teofimo Lopez, Richardson Hitchins fight, or even a Teofimo Devin Haney fight will probably be a little bit more exciting to watch. But this fight is not a fight that shouldn't happen. I don't want to seem like I'm down on this fight and I like, oh, this they should not be fighting. These two guys should absolutely be fighting. I just don't know if I want to see it. That's it. I just don't know if I want to see it, because I feel like it's the potential for a snooze fest is there, and I love both these guys. Peace. This is the Parry. I just want to remind y'all to go ahead and jab that like button, uppercut that subscribe button, lead hook that share button, and throw a combination at the notification bell so you can stay updated when we drop new content. And you can follow us on all forms of social media, on X and on Instagram at the Parry 101, and on TikTok at the .Parry.101. Yeah, Brian Norman Jr. this past it was a Thursday night fight, believe it or not. I didn't get a chance to catch it live, but I did go back and watch it. Brian Norman Jr. versus Jin Sasaki. Jin Sasaki, also known to be a pretty good puncher. But I said from the beginning, this looked like a stay busy fight for my man. So he went to Japan, defended his title against Jin Sasaki. And I will say in round one, it looked like, the poise of Brian Norman Jr. kind of stood out to me. Stayed in the pocket. They both was throwing bombs, but he didn't have the pop to keep Brian Norman Jr. off him, man. He just steamrolled him. And I believe it was the 5th round. He hit him with a left hook that completely shut off my man Power, man. He didn't pay his light bill, and his lights got cut off permanently. I ain't gonna say permanently, let me not say that, man, but he did injure my man, send him out on a stretcher. I haven't seen that in a while. When's the last time you see somebody get carried out on the stretcher in the ring? I can't remember, man. It might have been too long ago, but I can't remember.
I'm sure it happened recently, but I not the fight that, not in the big fight that I've seen
I mean, like, I will say, knockout of the year.
So out on the stretcher.
Who?
Wilder didn't get took out on the stretcher in one of them fights.
Come on, man! Don't do this, man. Come on, man. Come on, man.
He did.
No, man. Come on.
He walked out the ring in all of them fights.
Come on, man.
He didn't leave that. He didn't leave that
Palmer like that, man. He fight Anthony Herman coming up in a few weeks. They're going to 27.
Up the ladder to retirement, escalate respirator style. He climbing up the ladder to retirement. Respirator style.
Shout out to the Bronze Bomber, man. My man.
Ain't no shout outs right now. Ain't no shout outs right now.
Come on, man.
It's not out of hate either. It's not out of hate. You just brought up the fact that we were talking about the knockout. It's a great knockout. It's a great knockout. Stretch knockout.
Knockout of the year so far, in my opinion. But
it looks like it very well possibly could be. Very well could be. It has to be something real sensational to top this one.
That knockout was brutal, man.
But now we talking about Wilder, who is coming back. He's actually listed to come back this year.
Anthony Herndon. But back to Sasaki, Brian Norman Jr. knockout. Your thoughts?
I thought it was a sensational knockout. I thought it was. It's one of them fights, man. I hate seeing the result like that. I love seeing the action and the violence, but then I hate seeing people hurt in the ring like that. But this is the sport, and this is the sport.
Sasaki's career might be over, like that quick, because he got taken out on the stretcher. Now, don't quote me on this. I don't know. I got to go back and really and read some of the articles about how badly he was injured. But what I did come across was that my man woke up and he didn't have no recollection of what happened. Like his memory is all.
But that's not something that hasn't happened before, though. You had that. We seen it in the ring when Hassan Rahman knocked out Lennox Lewis, and Lennox Lewis is in the corner talking about what happened. I lost. Yeah,
that's in the ring. I'm talking. My man got taken out on the stretcher, brought to the ICU.
But we don't know his recollection. If Lennox Lewis remembers what happened in that ring, is what I'm saying. We don't know if he ever remembered getting knocked out.
One thing we do know, not to cut you, one thing we do know is that he wasn't taken out on the stretcher, sent to the hospital and put him in intensive care with doctors are all over him, looking down at him, parents crying. You know what I mean? Your man in the semi-coma, and then woke up and was like, "Where am I? What happened?" Like that's different. That's like don't ever fight again type different. That's the sanctioning bodies and the athletic commissions are sitting you down for a year, bro. Behind that, maybe longer. You got to get brain scans and all that. Make sure ain't no permanent damage. Like he may not talk the same. Like we don't know, bro. That was a brutal knockout, bro. That was brutal.
I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm not saying it wasn't. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, I'm just saying we don't know how severe it is. That's all. There's been fighters who had lost consciousness and can't tell you what happened. Michael Bent, I can't remember what fight it was, but Michael Bent, I think he said he lost consciousness. He don't even remember what happened before the fight. Yeah.
What was homeboy name that he got knocked out and then at the interview he was like
that was Marlon. I was gonna bring him up too. It was Marlon Sterling. Marlon Sterling gets knocked out, and after the fight, and it was like after the bell kind of knocked out too. But after the, he don't even remember getting knocked down. He's like, I didn't get knocked down. And Larry had Larry Merchant being who he is,
Right.
had to let him know, like, let me show you what happened. You got knocked out, Marlon.
Let's go to the videotape. Like, fam, you had to scrape you up off the canvas.
What's going on right here? You know what I'm saying?
Yo, shout out to Jin Sasaki. May he recover and not his career don't get sidetracked and have to go into an early retirement. But that was brutal. Now, after the fight, you had Bill Haney and Brian Norman Sr. was on another platform. Shout out to Box Voice. And they were discussing a fight between Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. being next at 147. Now it seemed like Devin Haney's on the menu for a lot of guys. Like these guys are salivating pause to get at Devin Haney.
I'm saying, man, Devin Haney looking real soft in these boxing streets right now, man. Devin Haney looking real. He looking like a come up. And he looking like somebody to come up on. He walking around looking like a come up, smelling like a come up. And ain't gonna be long for someone to decide he the one to come up on. And right now, after his last fight, after his last 2 fights, it look like, especially see, and this is the messed up thing about it. It's not just that. This is what you got to look at. You have to look at his last 2 fights. And then the last fighter, the fighter who defeated him, and then it got overturned or whatever. But then you got to look at Garcia's last fight, and we know that there was PED involvement.
Right.
We know this. We all know this.
Right.
But I think a lot of these guys is looking at it like, I don't care what this Garcia dude was hyped up on. He wouldn't have did that to me. I think a lot of people in these boxing streets is really feeling like that. They feeling like, look, I don't care what kind of cape he done came in the ring with. They don't care what magic potion from Egg Chan he done swallowed. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever he done, whatever gorilla pituitary gland he done shot in his ass cheek. They don't care. They know that they could have still beat his punk ass.
Shout out Devin Haney. I will say
that's a half a shout out from the Parry, because that's a Bomani shout out.
That's definitely. I'm shouting out Devin, man. Absolutely. I ain't jumping ship. I've been a Devin Haney fan. I'm gonna stay a Devin Haney fan.
You're gonna sink with it, and that's cool.
I'm going down with the shit, man. That's what it is. I'm going down with the shit, man. I'm team Devin.
That ship done. That ship over.
Come on.
The Haney era never existed. Bill Haney was delusional for even claiming that they was on par with what Mayweather did, or like they was the next coming of the Mayweather era. The Mayweather era is still technically still going on, if you want to be honest.
It's the Terrence Crawford era, but go ahead.
It's the Terrence Crawford era as far as he's the dominant fighter, but it's still the Mayweather era, man. Like, let's be real. These young fighters, man, they modeling themselves after Mayweather, not Crawford.
You're right. And that O on a lot of these guys' records means more, like having no losses on your record means a lot more today, probably even more so than in Mayweather's era, right? Like Mayweather set the standard now in regards to being the top guy in the sport, dominate, and retire undefeated. And there's been other fighters who retired undefeated, the Joe Calzaghes and the Andre Wards of the world. But Floyd Mayweather definitely, you're 1,000% correct. It's still the Floyd Mayweather era. No question about it. It's because of the legacy that Floyd left behind, and dare I say, the money that he made over that time has set the standard. And that's what a lot of these fighters are shooting to become. Like you said, not Terrence Crawford. These fighters want to be Floyd Mayweather Jr. So yeah, you're right. You're 1,000% correct. Devin Haney, in regards to just being the second coming of, but a lot of fighters have been marketed that way. But I get what you're saying. Bill is the one that was out there champion that, saying that through the bullhorn. My son,
Mayweather
next
era,
Mayweather.
This the Haney era.
Yeah. And I will say, okay, you get called out by Richardson Hitchens. He called you, roll the clip. We heard what he, what I mean? We heard what he called.
Biatch. Called you a bitch.
He hit you. He hit you with the too short. Biatch. Like, it's crazy. And now Brian Norman, who, I believe there was talks between him and Boots and his unifying, but Boots decided to move up to 154. So now there's a possibility we get Devin Haney, Brian Norman Jr. at 147. How you see that fight playing out? You gave your opinion on Richardson Hitchens. Devin Haney, you saying he probably stops Haney within 5 if he stands in the pocket and tries to fight, or he does, huh?
I said yes. Huh? No, I said no. I was agreeing with you. Yes, go ahead.
Brian Norman Jr., especially like Brian Norman Jr.
Or he runs and it's a boring fight.
Right.
Go ahead.
Brian Norman Jr. is like, this is probably like his second highlight knockout. Remember the one when he knocked out Homeboy and kind of crouched down over him while while the ref was coming to save him.
Mm-hmm.
The man got thunder in them hands, man. He can punch. This kid can punch, man. He's no Ryan Garcia, and I don't mean no disrespect to Ryan. Well, you know what the hell with Ryan? He's a cheater, but nonetheless, I'm not taking away from the punching power of Ryan Garcia. He's already proven, whether steroids or not, that he can punch. But Brian Norman Jr. just seems to have a different type of thud, a different type of pop. He crack a little different. He get hit with that left hook. Sasaki get hit with. I don't know if Devin is getting up them 3-4 times. I don't know.
I don't like the. Maybe I'm not going to go down that avenue. However, I'll say Sasaki. I don't know of Sasaki like to have a beard. Physically, the guy's a big chin. Like a lot of those guys from over there. So what I'm basically saying is I was very impressed. I don't know if he's gonna how do I put this? I don't know if he'll be able to find Devin Haney like that to do what he did to Sasaki.
I agree. Yeah.
I think
I'm just saying that if
it's gonna be a lot harder, but the problem is the way I see Haney now. If Haney watched that fight, he probably shit on himself, knowing that he has to fight Norman Jr. because of the power that Norman possesses, and like just the way Haney is done, man. Haney needs a fight where he could go out there and just blast somebody away. He needs a fight where he could go out there and just go out there and just knock somebody's head off, man.
Hold on, but Devin, this is why I respect Devin, man. Devin ain't cut from that cloth. Devin is going to fight the toughest competition that he can get in the ring with, man.
But that's not a good thing, though. See, you're saying on one avenue, you're saying this is why you respect him, but then this is the types of things that shorten your career. It shortens the potential that you could have as a marquee fighter. Like, you gotta be smart about shit.
Hold on.
This is a career. This is your career, and this is a business.
Hold on, though.
This is a career.
Che. Come on, Che. Because we will get up here and we will talk about this guy want to be cherry picking and not fighting the toughest people in and around his division. He's fighting these guys that's cab drivers. You know what I mean? These dudes that are stock room workers. Devin Haney is trying to fight. He's already showed and proven he's going to fight the toughest competition.
That's why it's okay to take that soft touch.
Oh, you saying for Devin? Okay, you saying for Devin at this
point? That's why it's okay. It's okay. We know you'll go in there and fight the best. We know that already.
Right.
We know that about you. It's okay to go out there and say, you know what, this next fight is going to be a tune-up. I just need to get my confidence back. You don't even gotta say it. Just go out there and do it. We know what it is. We know what you do.
You know what? That's fair. That's probably the most respectable thing I heard you say about Devin Haney in a long time. I'll let you have that one because that's true. He probably deserves a tune-up fight, but he's not built like that. He's not built like that, man. He's not going to do it. He's not
built like that. Is really to say that he has a corner and he has a management team and he has handlers who don't give a damn about him then or his career in the long run. They're there for the money grab for the right now, and they riding the train. Because if you have managers, promoters, handlers, and his family, they self-promoting, so we already know what's going on. When you have people that care about you in your corner like that, though, they help you make these decisions. There's nothing wrong with saying, yeah, talk to Don King about that. Talk to Bob Arum about that. Talk to Al Heyman about that. There's nothing wrong with saying I'm the fighter. Talk to my manager. Talk to my promoter about that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the promoter has to step in and say, nah, that's my bullet. I'm the one who put him in with that weak ass fighter because I needed him to go in there and I needed this to happen. Now we got this fight coming.
Devin Haney, Brian Norman Jr. That fight was to happen. How does it play out? Who you got? Real quick.
It's a pick 'em for me right now. Right now, it'd be up in there. I'd have to flip a coin on that. Yes, prior to Garcia in the last two fights, I would have absolutely went with Devin Haney.
Interesting. I'm kind of with you. It's a coin toss at this point. But you know who I'm rooting for. No disrespect to Brian Norman Jr., but you know who I'm rooting for, man. This is what it is.
No doubt. And I'm looking to see the Haneys get up out of here. That's why I want to see a fight with Hitchins. That's why I want to see the Hitchin-Haney fight. Because Hitchin can get Haney the hell up out of here. And I want to see that fight.
Let me just remind all our supporters to please go ahead and jab that like button, uppercut that subscribe button, lead hook that share button, throw a combination at the notification bell so you can stay updated when we drop new content. And please follow us on Instagram and X at the Parry 101 and at TikTok at the .Parry.101. This is This Week in Boxing episode uno. Another fight news. Terrence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez press conference. The fight is being held on September 13th, I believe it is, at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. I was looking to get some tickets, but the nosebleeds is crazy, but that's neither here nor there. And the fight is going to be aired on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe with Dana White being like the lead promoter on this fight, which is interesting. The press conference, I felt they both clearly. I like the fact that they both clearly respect one another as fighters, and neither one of them are taking each other lightly. But I also like the fact I like when Canelo talks shit. I ain't gonna lie.
Turkey, you need to put a small ring, the smaller ring in the.
The only, hey Matt. Yeah. The only running that I'm gonna be doing is running upside his head, and I can assure you that.
It's something about when Canelo start talking, and he just like I'm not going to lose. Like I'm not going to lose this fight. Don't worry. Like I'm. And Bud is like, listen, man. Like I'm about to be 3-time undisputed, and that's how they both should come into the fight feeling. That's how they, they both should be confident. As I don't think it's a false confidence. I think both fighters believe they're going to win this fight. But remember, when they had their first face-off after Canelo beat William Skull, they're in the ring. Terrence Crawford looked like the bigger, when I say bigger, I mean taller fighter. You see clearly he put on some size. He looked like he
looked like the bigger guy.
He did.
He looked like the bigger guy. He looked like, bro, I'm right there, bro.
I'm telling you, Canelo was looking at him like I Joe Smeo, man. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Look at this guy, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How you said it? This negro. Like, he looked like the bigger man.
Yeah.
But when they had their face off at this first press conference, Canelo seemed
Like he
noticeably
forgot his purse to match them heels he came in the conference with. That's what he seemed like he did. That's what it seemed like.
He put on the lifts, it seemed like, or maybe he, maybe the computer roll burgers added some height or something. I don't know if Crawford got smaller. I don't know if they doing some camera tricks.
Put Crawford in a hole. Yeah, man. He told Crawford to stand in a hole or something.
You're standing in this pit, so y'all could do this face off.
Because outside of that boy had on lifts. That boy had on heels, pumps. He had on a pair of pumps. He had on the pump it ups.
He had on the Ed De La Hoyas, huh?
Yeah, man.
And the heels on. Listen.
Yeah, he had on the heels, man.
And this is what I want to speak to, though, in regards to it, because again, it seems like Canelo was definitely confident in his ability to beat Crawford. But there's clearly some insecurity here. Now, I don't know. You know what? Let me
could have been on the promoters, though. We can't just put that on Crawford.
That's what I was about to say.
The promoters could have been like, look, we want this to look that it, you know what I'm saying? That could have been on the because the fact that a lot of people aren't going to realize Crawford is taller than him. Like, a lot of people don't realize Crawford has the height reach advantage like that.
Right.
So seeing it for the first time in the press conference, for a lot of people who are just banking off of the Canelo is just too big for him, that visually dispels that myth.
Yo, man, but this is going to be a big fight. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to a great fight, man. We're going to do our, as the fight get closer, we're going to do our. We may need to do a live fight show or stream for that one when it happens in September, man. But we'll get into all that once we get close to the fight.
Yeah, that's on Mexican Independence Day, September 16th.
Yeah. But let's take a look at some upcoming fights that's coming up toward the end of this month in July. Just going to run through some of the fights that stand out to me on this fight schedule. On June 27th, you got Deontay Wilder. He's making a comeback against what's his name? Terrell Anthony Herndon.
You ever heard of him? You ever seen him fight? You know anything?
I've seen Herndon fight before. It's a tune-up. It's a good matchup for Wilder. If Wilder loses to Herndon, then man.
His last 3 fights was tune-ups, to my understanding. The last 2 fights.
Come on, man. Yeah, I'm not doing that, man.
No. They just didn't turn into tune-ups when he got beat. Then all of a sudden, he was in there with it.
Joseph Parker is a former heavyweight champion. Big Bang Zhang was a highly touted heavyweight who was looked at like he may be getting the title or a title shot soon. That's a good question. Also on the schedule, we got actually coming up on June 28th, which is an important day for more than a little bit. That's actually my born day. Saturday, June 28th, you got Jake Paul fighting the son of a legend, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. On a co-main, you have Zurdo Ramirez fighting Yunel Dorticos. Also on that card, you got Floyd Schofield fighting Tevin Farmer. I'm really looking forward to that one, man. Like,
I'm gonna go with Farmer on that one, and Paul is knocking out Lil Chavez.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yo,
I
would hope not, man. I be too.
I hope the hell I'm wrong.
I hope you're wrong, man. To be honest, I don't even feel.
I want to be wrong.
I don't even feel like that fight warrants me to even give a prediction, man. At this point, this dude for the 60-year-old Mike Tyson, man. Like, I'm not. Whatever, man. I like the undercard better. I like the Ramirez Dorticos fight. I got Zurdo Ramirez winning that fight. And I'll probably pick Floyd Schofield to beat Tevin Farmer. Even though I'm a big fan of Tevin Farmer, and I like Floyd Schofield, so that should be a goodie. That Paul Chavez Jr. fight, man, whatever, man. I don't even care, to be honest with you, man. Then after that, the next big fight. This is like a great fight card, actually. Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano 3 for the undisputed super lightweight championship. A lot of people feel that Amanda Serrano kind of got the messed up end of a judgment on both those fights. I thought she might have won the first fight. I thought the second fight she just I don't think she did enough. I thought she lost by like 1 or 2 points on my fight card in that fight. So here's the trilogy. This is the first time I heard of a trilogy with somebody being up 2-0, but who else are they going to fight?
Nah, it's happened before.
I mean, that I can remember.
Yeah, Marquez Pacquiao and shit. It was
yeah.
It was one. What was the record? It was one.
But they had a draw. There was a draw in between.
It was 1-2. It was 1-2. One draw, two. It was basically one draw. Then Pacquiao was 2-0 before they fought the
2 wins. Fight. And those decisions was also controversial.
You had Bronco McCartney and Winky Wright. They fought a trilogy, and Bronco lost every 3 of them. Winky Wright won every 3 of those. Bernard Hopkins fought what's the guy? Oh man, the one he got pushed out the ring by Mills Lane. Mills Lane pushed him out the ring. He broke his foot in the first fight. And then they fought the rematch. They fought 3 fights. They fought.
It wasn't Jermaine Taylor, was it?
Robert Allen. It was Robert Allen.
Oh okay. Yeah.
He fought Robert Allen 3 fights and won all 3 of them. So it does happen.
But the first 2 fights were all-time classics. I think their fight last year was probably the fight of the year. This one, I don't expect anything different, man. Like I'll watch them fight 15 times. I'll watch these 2 ladies fight, man. So on the undercard, on the undercard, you got Alicia Baumgartner making her return, the undisputed champion, junior lightweight champion. She's fighting Jennifer Miranda.
This is after her suspension.
Yeah,
this is her first fight since her suspension for testing positive for PED.
Right. Also on that undercard, this is
ridicule that Garcia gets.
Man, I'm not getting to it. I'm not even getting into that. Anyway, another fight on this undercard that I'm really looking forward to is Savannah Marshall versus Shadasia Green. That should be a real good fight. I like Savannah Marshall in that fight. They're fighting for the super middleweight titles. I like Savannah Marshall, man. She can really fight. Shadasia Green is no joke either, but I think Savannah might be a little bit too much for us at this point. But it's a good fight nonetheless. Really looking forward to that fight and those fights in that fight card. On July 12th, you got the Ring 3 card, which is Edgar Berlanga versus Hamza Shiraz. Anybody that's been watching our channel for a while know I'm really big on Shiraz, who came off. I think he fought to a draw against what's my man name? Pardon me, his name escapes me right now. But Shiraz versus Berlanga is the headliner, which is I'm still puzzled by why the co-main event is not the headline event, especially being that they're fighting in New York City at the Louis Armstrong Stadium. Shakur Stevenson versus William Cepeda. We're finally getting that fight. They're fighting for Shakur Stevenson's WBC lightweight title. Also, this is a stacked undercard. You got you got Stevenson Cepeda. You got Alberto Puello versus Sabrio Matias. Puello just won the title, and then you got David Morrell making his comeback versus Imam Katayev. That should be a good fight too. I like David Morrell. Good to see him. Good to see him back. Then you got Saturday, July 19th, the undisputed championship. Usyk Dubois 2. They're fighting for the undisputed heavyweight championship, man. What you think? What you think about this fight and this matchup, man? Before we raise up,
I don't. You know what I'm saying? No.
That is such a Jay Black answer.
Usyk will probably retain the title against Dubois. Dubois has a chance. Nobody's dominant, and there's no dominant heavyweights out there right now. So
well, I mean, Usyk is probably as dominant as you could be at this point. I do.
yeah,
I
you
think.
just said he was as dominant as, you know, like compared to what? He's not a dominant heavyweight champion like that. He doesn't dominate fights.
I mean, he beat Tyson Fury twice. You know, like what else you want from the man? But he's fighting Daniel Dubois, who's on a hell of a fight
See,
streak right now.
this is the problem, man. This is the
Come on,
problem.
man. Let me just get
This is
through the card, man.
Mike Tyson was a dominant heavyweight champion, right? Lennox Lewis was a dominant heavyweight champion, regardless of him getting knocked out by Rockman and coming back and what Rockman said. Lennox Lewis not only won most of his fights, won with the exception of the fight he lost, but won most of his fights, but he dominated. See, that's what the being dominant doesn't just mean you squeak by these people. It means you dominate your fights. Roy Jones was a dominant champion. You know, Muhammad Ali was not a dominant champion. He actually just barely beat a lot of the fights that he fought and won in his later career. In his early career, he was a dominant champion because he dominated those guys.
Mike Tyson wouldn't have beat Tyson Fury.
Tyson would have knocked Tyson Fury out. The prime Mike Tyson would have knocked Tyson Fury right on that.
Well, that's neither here nor there. Dubois, I'm gonna go
in Canada too.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I pick Daniel Dubois to probably win this fight.
I want him to win because he's a brother.
Me too. I'm kind of rooting for Dubois. I think after the last fight, the controversy from that last fight, I think Dubois, and plus all just the run he's on right now, he seemed to be improving with each fight, man. So that should be a goodie. And just to kind of end off the schedule, because we got to wrap this up, Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios. And on that fight card, this is another good fight card. This is happening Saturday, July 19th. You got Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios, and also you got Sebastian Fundora versus Tim Tszyu 2, and then you got Pitbull Cruz versus Fierro 2. Yeah, that should be actually a stacked fight card. Isaac Cruz versus Angel Fierro. So yeah, without getting into too much about those cards, but that's what's left of the fight schedule. We'll get more in depth on some of these fights as we give you guys our week in boxing recap moving forward. But yeah, Che Black, another episode. Be back and be black. Be here. You know what I'm saying? The two hosts with the bucket load, like F it though. You know what I mean? You know what it is. Be the EPMD of boxing. Strictly boxing over here, man. You know what I mean? It is what it is, man. But Che Black, any parting words before we raise up?
Nah, man, just continue to tune in. I mean, thanks for all the supporters, people who follow us. And you get it here at the Parry, we don't pull. No punches.
No punches. And the Parry is fundamental to boxing. That is what it is. Until next time, we up out of here. Peace.
Actually, now we're going to show you how to catch the jab. Actually, in boxing, it's called parrying.